Press, Buddy South Auto Parts, Alliance Equipment Corporation, Wally's Precision Machine, Zimmer Heating and Air Conditioning, The Bear 104.7, and Rick Stanley Auto Body.
And welcome everybody to another edition of Ashland Ford Southside Speedway Illustrated. I'm Yvonne Alzaro, with me Freddie Clark. Freddie, Rainout number 2, is this 1992 all over again?
Let's hope not. Nearly 10 rainouts that season, and we're back here again 2 weeks in a row. The teams come out here. This time they didn't even get the chance to qualify. A couple of them got practice laps in, but they packing it up and going home.
Some of the guys come as far as Lexington and Montpelier, but we got a chance to cut up with them as well as the local boys. I guess to talk about not only moral support but financial support to keep them running this late in the season.
Yeah, this late in the season, a lot of these guys are no longer competitive as far as the points are concerned, and we asked them, what keeps them running? What makes you want to come back out here? Is it hopes for landing sponsorship for next season? Is it looking to learn more about the Speedway, learn the track a little bit better, and hopes to come back next season and be more competitive and be a shot at the points?
You know, and looking now at the points situation, you see that Thomas Stinson, Chris Mullen, and the Ball Duck are all the top 3 in the Charger division, and it's getting to be somewhat of a runaway like it was last year in the Charger division.
Yeah, hopefully things will tighten up. That division hadn't been competitive like it was early part of the season. It seemed like that was going to be the most competitive division, but now, like you said, it's becoming a runaway.
And how about things in the Grand Stock division? Glenn Jarman has to be extremely tickled with what he's found himself with this year. Like Scott Willingham said last week, he stole his game plan for the year, and he's got a comfortable lead. Who do you see besides John Eversole as another threat for the title this year?
Well, I tell you, David Zimmer is really about the only person left out there that could even be a threat to Jarman for the championship. Jarman continues to ride, continues to be consistent, and if he's running at the end, he's up in the top 3.
And of course, in the late model stock car division, there's Shane Lockhart, who leads in points. And besides Shane, you got Eddie, you got Wayne. But, you know, as we've seen in this season, it seems that in one race, point standings can change dramatically. So, be that as it may, how safe are things for Shane?
I don't think Shane's going to take any time to look back in his rearview mirror and hopes they don't catch him. Shane's going to continue to come out here, run as hard as he can, and hope to continue his points lead. But I don't think he's eased off one bit, and he's not going to.
All right. We'll have for you now interviews that we had in the Rainout edition, number 2, with Southside Speedway Illustrated. We'll be right back with those after C.J. Johnson gives us his version of a victory lap at a rained-out Southside Speedway. Hello, everybody from Southside Speedway, all you asphalt racing fans. Let me tell you about a whole new world so that maybe you can tune in and check out what's happening. Everybody says you always drive to the races on asphalt, but you race on dirt. We all know that's not necessarily true. You have great action at Southside Speedway. We have great action at Southampton Speedway. And I want to invite you to tune in tomorrow night, Continental Cable, Channel 38 at 6 o'clock, Comcast, Channel 6 at 6:30. It's a half-an-hour show on Southampton Speedway. Southampton Speedway is a 3/8-mile high-bank tri-oval located in Southampton County. It's in Capron. Great racing action. We'll have interviews, we'll have highlights, we'll have a lot of fun, and I'd like to invite all you Southside Speedway fans to tune in.
Take time to talk to Shane Lockhart. Shane, another night ended due to rain, but we just want to talk to you about a few things. How does this affect family, girlfriends, things like that? What does Tracy feel about all this racing action?
Well, you think you get a week off here due to rain, but you don't. You go back, you go over the car again, you just keep on. I mean, it's the same old thing. It's all the way through the year. It doesn't matter if it rains 3 or 4 weeks in a row, you're still going to work all week. So, and it's no different for us. We just didn't get to race.
Does it affect the girlfriends greatly? I mean, time, even though this week you won't probably have as much to do, but still, like you said, you got to be in the garage working on the car.
Well, you know, it's a tremendous dedication for, you know, all the guys being there every night during the week and all. And you know, the wives and the girlfriends and the families and all, they do put up with a lot, and, you know, we greatly appreciate it. But, you know, if it weren't for them supporting us behind the scenes, you know, we couldn't be here. But, you know, back to, you know, this week, we're trying to finish another car and all, so, you know, we got plenty to do.
We'll take a few moments to talk to Kenny Evans. Haven't talked to him before, but he comes all the way from Montpelier to do the races here at Southside. A rained out night again. How frustrating is it to travel all this way, do all that work, and come in here and then it's over?
Well, it's not too bad for us because we had a wreck a couple weeks ago and never got the car back straight yet. So this is giving us practice time without a race to get it back straight.
Does the team work just as hard on a week like this, or is there ever any break for the teams, even when the weather falls?
Doesn't seem like there's ever a break. We'll probably be back out here Tuesday night to practice some more.
Something else we've talked about, some of the guys, the family members. How do you feel about the family? How are they affected by this, all the traveling and all, girlfriends, wife, whatever's involved?
My wife is out here every Friday night. My brother and my dad, you work on the team, and that's about all the family. And then I got a couple friends that help us too, and they love it.
Kenny Evans travels a long way to get here. Tonight, sent back home due to the rain. Well, nice wax job there, Bubba. I tell you, standing inside the trailer, we're going to stay in here where it's dry. Another rain out here at Southside. I tell you, your season has progressively gotten better. We've talked about it amongst ourselves. You seem to be moving up a little bit closer to the front each week.
Yeah, we keep trying to get a little closer to the front till we get there. It's been a pretty good season for us so far. We got a couple top 5 finishes and a 3rd place finish so far, and we're trying to stay out of trouble.
Who do you have the most fun competing with? Is there anybody out there in particular you enjoy running with, or is just all the guys seem to be real competitive, easy to work with? Or is there a few people out there you seem to race a little better with, a little bump and nudge every now and then, let you know each other's around?
Well, everybody at Southside's pretty good. Most people have been racing out here long enough where they'll give you room if you've gotten far enough up beside them. They'll give you room, and most of the guys out here have been racing long enough where just about everybody out here is pretty much a good driver.
With another rain out, we all head back to the camp, do a little more work to the car. I don't even think you got a chance to take it on the track tonight, did you?
Yeah, we went out there in that first practice and run some, and the car drove pretty good, and we was sort of looking forward to this 200 lap because it'd be the first one I ever run at Southside, and we were sort of looking forward to see how we could do in a long race. And really, in long race, if you can stay out of trouble, you might have a shot to be there at the end.
Well, we know in the bigger ranks, they talk about physical fitness, a lot more exercising going on amongst Winston Cup drivers. How physically challenging is Southside to the drivers? At the end of the night, are you really whipped?
Well, the biggest thing I have trouble getting used to is the car gets so hot inside, because when I run in modified, you only had like a half a window in the car, and you had a lot of breeze in the car, and you never really got hot. So really, the heat is the only thing that really bothers me in the car. I get a little hot by the end of the race, but I got a water bottle put in there, and I got a little air duct put in there, so it ain't too bad.
We'll take a few moments to talk to C.J. Johnson. Well, here it is. The car won't working for you tonight, C.J., I heard, so you were standing out here doing a rain dance, hoping for rain.
Well, it worked. No, I haven't had my suit on all day long. I knew it was going to happen, and, I didn't get my hopes up to run tonight a little bit. Hi, Ivan, how you doing?
Normally you're holding this in the mic, but we want to take a chance to talk to you. What do you feel of the racing season so far? Has it come along the way you wanted, or are you looking for more improvements from the team? Or?
Can you beep out some words here? I can tell you, now we've had a pretty good year. The machine removers Pontiac's been running consistent all year long. The only problem, we've had a few engine problems, but them things happen. So, last week we broke a hub and hit the wall in practice. That's the first time we really wrecked a car this year. And the first time we didn't run when we went to a track. So I'm real pleased. Ray Lane, my crew chief, he's got the car working real good. And, we're just trying to get this new car still plugging together. So we'll be ready to go by the end of the year, I believe.
And one other question I've been wanting to ask you is, have you asked the officials to put 6 more inches of pavement coming off of turn number 2 so you can keep your tires on the speedway?
It don't matter. I'm gonna run right off that. They did it at Langley. I kept on driving further and further off.
You run an old Sonny Hutchins line. That's one of his tricks. He used to run down off that groove, and it seemed to hook him up coming off at turns. It seems to work for you. I've noticed you get a good bite coming off that turn, get underneath some of the drivers, and nudge your way in there. Just this year, there's some real competitive cars in this division, and it gets a lot harder to move up through the field.
There's a lot of good cars there with Shane, Wayne, Eddie, Bugs. Anybody can win. And that's the fun thing about it.
And C.J. Johnson now brings it into pit road for service. He's wearing shorts. Let's keep an eye on C.J. as he climbs from the car here in the rain. Did a few test laps. Don't know what purpose that'll serve. Rain continues to fall, but C.J. continues to race. He's just a die-hard racer. Here he comes, climbing from his car. Victorious tonight, C.J. Johnson. Well, cars continue to back out of the pits. Everybody loading up as rain continues to fall here. They've called the race. Must be a frustrating night to pack up everything, get down here, get ready, and then the night's over.
Especially 2 weeks in a row. After 2 weeks of not racing, you kind of start wanting to go anywhere and race. Just go to the Virginia Beach go-kart track and run around because I miss it a lot. And now I think we got a setup. We've gotten to practice both weeks. Last week, the car was getting better. We made a few changes. This week, we made a lot more changes. And I think we've really hit on something. And I can't wait till next week to see what I think the car is going to do, if it happens.
Do you think it's more an advantage to come out here like this? And a lot of teams don't even show up because they had pretty much idea it was going to get rained out. But the teams that do show up, they run a few laps out here on a green racetrack, which is exactly what y'all be hitting next week if action does get in. But is there a lot more advantage to you come out here and run those few laps, find out what the tires are going to do, and so on?
I think it is because it's an excellent practice. You got other people around, you that are practicing too. A few people come. It's not real hectic and everything like big. If people know they're gonna run. But we learned a lot today about how the car's gonna run next week, and I hope it does what it did today.
Now we talked a lot about tires the past few weeks. Exactly what are they gonna let you do with the tires? Can you run the tires next week, or you got to buy a new one?
I'm not really sure what they're gonna do. I know a lot of teams have been talking about running the same tires they qualified on 2 weeks ago. We qualified on a set. We've still got them. And we're planning on running them because it's saving us a lot of money, especially in a 200-lap race like it was tonight. I hope they run this 200-lap race because I enjoy those long races. And being that this was the only one of the year, and of course my sponsor, Truckers Toy Store, was the sponsor, I hope they run this again.
That's right. Get those sponsors in there. So what will you do on this off week? You go home, work on the car a little bit more, or will you take a chance to maybe go out and run a go-kart somewhere or something?
Well, I would love to do that, but I don't have the opportunity. But hopefully tomorrow night we'll be able to go somewhere else. The car's got a brand new body on it. We don't want to mess that up yet, but I'd like to go somewhere else. And now that we got a weekend where we can do anything we want, and then next week just leave the car alone because it was perfect today.
Well, that's good. Something else we talked to some of the guys about, family, girlfriends, things like that. You got any girlfriends out there?
I had a girlfriend last season, but I think it's a little simpler without one, and I'm getting along fine, and it makes things easier when you just got it all racing. I still have fun with my friends, and I still have to do school-related things, getting ready for college, but you got to keep your mind on racing as much as you can.
Well, they'll dry the car off and come back next week, try it one more time. David Goad coming in tonight to make an attempt to run on his limited season, and once again rain falls and it's over with.
Yeah, it's like last couple of weeks. You load up and come out here and run a few laps, and it rains on you. You got to go home. So,
well, coming into this season, like you said, you come in a few weeks late. And what are your intentions right now? Is this a part of the season where you work for next year? You learn things about next year. It's not really a point situation. Do you just try to learn some things about the track, about the car, in hopes maybe to get a good run and maybe land some extra sponsorship for the next season?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, we got a late start this year due to the engine work, and our trailer was late getting to us. And I think the best thing we can hope for this year is to steady improve like we have over the last couple of weeks, and like I say, work towards next year. Just hope we can come out here and, like I say, steady improve over the next couple of weeks and see what we can do for next year.
The continuous work of the teams and drivers, they have to stay with their cars, work on them constantly all during the week. I know I stop by and see a lot of race teams. They're always involved, always in the garage. How does it affect the family?
Well, it's tough. I got a full family myself. I've got 2 little kids at home and my wife, and my wife's very understanding about it. I try not to take advantage of it. Like this week will be a slow week. I don't spend 4 and 5 nights at the race car shop. I will go home and spend a couple nights at home and hang around with the kids and the wife, and I enjoy that. I don't like working on that thing all the time. I enjoy my kids and I enjoy my home life.
Now with you, is some of the money come over the family financial funds, or is it all sponsorship money and team-supported money, or how deep does the checkbook go into the race team?
Well, my initial deal starts off with U-Crops. I wouldn't be able to be here at all if it wasn't for U-Crops and people like Battle Oil and stuff like that, but U-Crops is a major contributor to my racing effort, and no, none of it comes from the family. I made a commitment a long time ago that I would not take away from my family to race. So,
David Goad, a man who loves racing and values his family a little bit more. Frankie Pennington here. His team continues to pack up the car and get ready to take it home. Rain falls, another night ends here at Southside.
Well, it really is. It's one of these things where we would travel 150 miles one way, which would be a 300-mile trip. We done it last week. Then again we got to do it tonight. it gets real discouraging, you know, coming all the way up here and then you have to turn around and go all the way back home. We had some pretty high hopes tonight. You know, we qualified really well last week, and I felt real good about the starting position that we had, and we thought we had a legitimate shot at winning last week. And, you know, went out and practiced tonight and run a few good laps and practiced the first time out. And I think we had a good shot again tonight, you know, top 3 or 4 in qualifying, but rain washed us out, so here we go home.
And how much family support is involved with the team? Nights like this where, like you say, you're traveling all that way, and the family must get a little discouraged sometimes to come all the way out and head all the way back home. And sometimes some of the finances from home end up in the race team.
Well, you know, like pretty much now this time of year with school being out and everything, my wife, she comes with me every week. And my oldest daughter, some nights she comes, she's 13, and some nights she don't come, but we got a baby that's 2 years old, and she stays at my mother-in-law's house. And like tonight when we get back, we'll go back out and pick her up instead of, you know, leaving her at home and all that. The financial part of it is coming strictly out of my pocket. You know, we've got somewhat of help from Richmond Harley-Davidson, and with Bubba Chisholm, you know, he had some help from Marshall in yesterday's restaurant. But since I took over the car when he had a heart attack back probably 3 months ago now, I take a car home with me. I work on the car. I bring it back up here every week. A lot of weeks I come up here by myself, not a soul come with me. And all the money that's coming out of the car is coming out of my pocket right at the moment.
So hard work and a little bit of time. Hopefully you'll prevail. The car looks really good. I've seen a lot of good runs from the car this year, and it seems like each week, like you say, you get out here, you work a little bit harder, you get a little bit better. No real points threat right now. You look forward to next season, maybe pick up some more sponsorship with a good run. Is that what you're looking for maybe for the rest of this year?
Well, it should be. You know, they always told me, you know, the thing that I've always heard is you got to represent your company very well. And in the past, like we race at New River Valley Speedway, which is in Pulaski, Radford, and some nights we race at Franklin County Speedway, and, you know, following years we've raced at other places also. Like in '92, we had a super year tied for the points there and stuff. Last year we had Jasper Engines out of Jasper, Indiana sponsoring us. This year they pulled out and strictly went with their only Winston Cup deal since the guy that owned Jasper, Doug Bowell, he bought out the Winston Cup team to start his own team this year. And other than that, you know, we've had some good sponsors in the past, and we didn't neglect them in any way. It's just one of them deals where they pulled out and wanted to go with the one race car only. And by me living 150 miles away, I can't get up here and campaign like I need to do, you know, in this area with sponsorship that we need to gain in the area. And it really makes it tough on us, but going back to the points deal again, we didn't have no idea where we would even be. We came up here to start out the year with, and probably, I don't know, 7, 8 races or something. We've had a really bad run, but the last 5 weeks or so, we've really come on really strong, you know, from then. And I think about the last probably 4 or 5 races, we've been in the top 5. And I look back and, like, about the last 7 weeks, I ain't seen nobody pass me. And it probably ain't a guy that races at Southside Speedway that wants to win no worse than I do.
Well, I tell you, you continue to run, continue to make the trip, and we look forward to seeing you in Victory Lane one day. I know it's a long haul, but I'm sure you'll be back next week to do it again.
Well, we done paid the $10 to get in, you know, there's the whole deal. But no, really and truly, I really do think in my mind I wouldn't be coming up here if I didn't think I could win. You know, that's the bottom line is winning. I mean, I've won lots of races at other places. We done won 5 this year already at other tracks that we've raced at. It's not like I don't know how to win. It's just a thing of, this is probably one of the toughest racetracks I've ever driven at. It's entirely different. Most racetracks you go to, you got to race against the race car drivers and their outfit, the team and so forth. Which here you do that too, but you also got to race against this tough Southside Speedway.
Well, you can tell from his attitude, this man is a true racer at heart. Frankie Pennington.
Well, stay tuned. Next week we're going to have in the Charger division, it's of course the Dominion Paving and Sealing 20, then, or the 25 laps. But
25, I believe. Yeah. 25 for next week.
Unless a storm comes in earlier.
Yeah, they call it early. We'll make it 20.
In Grand Stock, it's the usual 30, Nations Bank 30. And then in late model stock?
The Bear, 104.7, McGuire Motors, 100.
So what can we look forward into next week? We got a couple of rainouts. I get everybody's had some time to relax and get the car in shape, so no surprises?
You might see some surprises. Guys who came out here and made a few practice laps today, they might have found something new. It doesn't take much. Teams work hard. If they find a new trick, they might come out here next week and win. You might even see somebody like Ryan Farmer in Victory Lane.
I did want to pass this on. The victory lap that C.J. Johnson took, He got disqualified for an illegal carburetor, so that victory.
Running rain tires
That
here.
was it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He would have had 26 points over everybody at this point, but he ran the wrong tires. Gary Fox let him know as he was pulling out in his Jeep Suburban saying, sorry.
And to show you what competitor he is, too, he was calling other speedways, trying to find a place to run tonight, calling down to Carolina. So that's what competition is all about. That's what these races are about.
And for you next week, we're going to do the usual racing, providing Mother Nature lets us. And later on this month, Freddie, we're going to start talking to the officials and to the drivers about the officiating and how can we shorten the gap, if you will, between the communication gap between the drivers and the officials as far as the philosophies are concerned.
It seems like some of the drivers feel like they're being picked on. Some of the officials are working hard to make it fair for everyone. And we want to get both sides of the coin there. We don't want to influence anybody one way or another. We just want to get their opinions and let the fans take it to themselves.
All right, everybody, you got the scoop. Stay tuned next Monday, 8:30 on Channel 6. I'm Yvonne Alzuro for Freddie Clark. So long, everybody. Let's hope there's not another rainout.
Southside Speedway Illustrated. Brought to you by Ashland Ford Mercury, Minuteman Press, Buddy South Auto Parts, Alliance Equipment Corporation, Wally's Precision Machine, Zimmer Heating and Air Conditioning, The Bear 104.7, and Rick Stanley Auto Body.